Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent, hardworking, happiest place on earth, loving wife and co-host Michelle.
Thank you, sweetie. Hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode on Sunday, April 11th, 2021. We got a lot of details about the reopening of Disneyland this week, and we can't wait to share them with you.
I know this is going to be an exciting topic to share with everybody, and I know there's a lot of people out there who really want to hear about this.
And we've been spending the last, since the details came out here a couple days ago, 48, 72 hours, whatever, running through our brains, trying to figure out how we could possibly get there as early as we can. By the way, Disneyland, if you want to invite us, we'd be happy to go and tell. We'll do a special episode just about our chance to visit Disneyland early. If you want to, kind of bring us in, we'd be happy to do that for you.
Exactly.
We're that kind of giving people. We love to do that for you.
Maybe we already are invited. It's a secret.
Maybe so. Hush, hush.
Hush, hush.
Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
you can sign up for our newsletter, and it is an amazing newsletter that Tom puts together every week.
It's a newsletter that I put out every week, but thank you for the compliment, my sweetheart. Yes, please sign up for the newsletter. It's just another way to be kind of in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world, know what we have going on around us, what we have upcoming. Sometimes we share some things with you first when we have that opportunity. Please sign up for it. We just appreciate all of you that have and all of you that may someday.
Right.
Another way to kind of be involved with us is out on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. By the way, speaking of Instagram, we're overwhelmed by a wonderful thing that some friends of ours that chime in with us very frequently on the show. They go by the title of Hakuna Matande.
Mm-hmm.
They are Michael and Kelsey Matande, and they just said the nicest things. They put us out like it's a Saturday showcase on their Instagram, and it was just the nicest things they said about us.
So nice. Such great people out there. We really appreciate it and appreciate the wonderfully kind compliments. It blows us away.
Yeah, and they called us couple goals, but you two are definitely the couple goals. You guys are wonderful. You have a cute little family, just adorable. Please follow them. Find them on Instagram. Again, it's at Hakuna Matande. Check them out. They do great stuff out there. And again, thank you guys. It was just really
so
sweet. Yeah. So also, we do have a YouTube channel. Please find us on YouTube. You can just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe. You know, whenever we put any new content out there on YouTube. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
We sure appreciate getting the emails that we get each week. It's so warm and touching to hear from you all. And we just want to invite you all to reach out to us. Or if you have any questions about something we've talked about, please let us know. We want to make sure we're covering the topics thoroughly.
Yeah. Questions, comments, topic suggestions, or if you just want to say hi, we always love hearing from all our Hyperion adventurers. Now, for this week's show, obviously we got a lot to get into because this is all about Disneyland this week and the reopening of Disneyland. We have a lot to get into about that. And so we're going to discuss a lot about that. And a lot of other news broke this week from Disney. I don't know what was going on with Disney, but they put out a ton of news this week, and we're going to try and get to as much as we can. However, I'm not going to preface it right now because I don't know how much of it we can get to because there was so much stuff, but we will definitely have plenty of Disney stories for you coming out and after we get done with our main topic. Let's get to that main topic right now. So yes, we're very excited about this topic. We've been waiting for this to happen for so very long, over a year now. We will be talking all about reopening Disneyland, returning to the happiest place on earth today. We're going to go through and tell you what we know as far as fact-wise, give you some little tips that we might have that might help you out. tell you a little bit about what you might want to, what you might expect based on kind of our visits to Walt Disney World and what we've seen from Walt Disney World. And, you know, obviously Disneyland and Walt Disney World are a couple different animals, but there may be some similarities in what to expect out there. And we'll talk about that as well. Right. And we also are just going to talk about what we're looking forward to, right?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you're right. Although the parks have differences, the Disney company's dedication to keeping people safe is consistent. And so we do expect to see a lot of the similar practices at Disneyland.
Right. So we'll share what we know about that as well with you, so you can know when you do secure your park reservation, your day to get to go and return to Disneyland or Disney California Adventure Park or both, what you might have in store for you when that happens. So let's kind of get started here. We'll start with what we know. Now, bear with us. This may be a little dry. There are going to be a lot of facts, a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff going on. So we'll try and make it as interesting as possible. But I think this is important stuff that people will need to know, right, Michelle?
Exactly.
So let's go through. Most of the information we found out about Disneyland came this week. We received the details on Tuesday, April 6th. I'll go with just some of the beginning details we know right off the bat is that to enter the parks, you will need to be a California resident, at least to begin with. Right. You will need to have proof that you live within the state of California when you get your passes, when you get your reservations, and possibly when you actually visit on that day. So be prepared for that if you're trying to kind of get around that at all.
Right. And some of these regulations are a direct relationship to California state regulations, not necessarily the Disney company.
Right. Exactly. So you will, of course, need a valid admission ticket for any guests that are ages 3 and up. So be prepared for that. You will need a park reservation for that day that you're planning on going to the parks, whether it be to Disneyland or Disney California Adventure Park. And the groups, at least to begin with, can be no more than 3 households large. So if you're forming a group that's planning on going to Disneyland, you can't have a 4th household within that group. Right. It needs to be from 3 households. So just kind of giving you some basic knowledge on what to go. Now, securing tickets and park reservations for Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park. If you already have a valid Disneyland ticket, its expiration date has probably been extended. So it may be available for you to use coming here for when they open up the park reservation system for Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park. Most of them have been extended through to mid-December of 2021 before we get to the holiday season. So just know that if you're not sure about your ticket, how long it'll be good for, or since we're going to go through a tier system that they have there, what days it might be good for you to use. You can go to Disneyland.com/park updates to verify it and see what parks it is available for and what days it might be available for. I will put that link in our show notes so you know where to go to kind of check that out. For those of you who do hold valid Disneyland tickets, you will be able to begin making park reservations beginning at 8 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. As of recording this today on April 11th, on April 12th, you can start making those park reservations. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Another way that you can be looking at this that's very helpful is going on the Disneyland app. And you can, as long as you have those tickets linked to your account, you can review some things there and use that as your means of making some of these reservations.
Right.
Too.
Good. It's a good point. Good point from Michelle there. Those of us who, like us, who currently do not have Disneyland tickets, we of course had annual passes up until they decided that it was time that we unfortunately with the circumstances as they are, they would have to at least put a pause in the Disneyland annual pass program. We'll see what happens to that in the future. But if you don't have valid tickets, you will need a Disney account to purchase your tickets. So if you have not already signed up for an account with Disney on the Disneyland website or somewhere within Disney, you will need to sign up for that before you even start to look to purchase tickets. You will be able to purchase new tickets on Thursday, April 15th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. At least they say no earlier than 8 a.m. Pacific time because, there could be some computer glitches or whatever, but that is when they are theoretically going to be starting to sell those tickets. tickets. And then once you've purchased your tickets, hopefully you will already have it signed into your account. Then those tickets will immediately link to your account, or you can work to make sure they're linked. And then you can make your park reservations for those available dates.
Right. And I like how they're talking about the rolling reservation process, where what it sounds like is that they will have some available to certain groups on certain days, but maybe not exclusively all of them. So like if you're already a park ticket holder, just because you have advanced opportunities to secure and reserve some park reservations doesn't mean they'll fill them all up with those individuals.
Right. So this is stated on Disneyland's website that what they're going to do is to try and make it as fair as possible to all the different tiers that happen to have those dates available to them. They're only going to sell a certain amount, at least to begin with, to the certain tiers. So let's just say for opening day, those of you who do have valid tickets or is available to be there for opening day, they're only going to sell an allotted amount. And then if you purchase tickets on the 15th...
wait, you mean sell or park reserve?
Park reserve, excuse me. Thank you for pinpointing that. Park reserve for that many on that day. Then if you purchase tickets and you're in that tier that is available for opening day, they will have an allotted amount for you as well there. And then they'll go back and revisit it and see if they have any more spaces open. Probably not. But if they do, they will put those reservations out there for others. And that goes for virtually every day. They want to be sure that no matter what your tier is, that if it's a day that you're not in a blackout period, that you will have the opportunity to possible, at least they'll have some spots available for you. And then if they see that they are, the passes are still available for some of the ones that they've blocked off or whatever, they may open them later. So keep checking to see if there was a day you wanted and when you first went on, it was sold out to begin with, or the reservations were gone to begin with. Check back from time to time because they may open up. Also, on the rolling thing, know that right now in California, we're a certain tier that only allows 25% capacity. That tier could change by opening day or soon thereafter. It could get to what's called the yellow tier. Right now it's in the orange tier. It could get to the yellow tier, which would open up 10% more capacity. Right. By June 15th, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has said that California is going to be wide open at this point right now. So the tier system is going to go away. So theoretically, they could do 100% capacity. I doubt Disney does that, but they could. So that may open up some more capacity as well. So just keep an eye on it. Things may open up if you don't get the date you want to begin with. And we'll discuss more about that when we get into tips. Now, also I wanted to mention that if you have theme park reservations, you can start booking dining and activities on Thursday, April 22nd. So,
well.
Wait a minute. Does Michelle know something that isn't stated on the Disney website?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Because we are right now, as we speak, holders of reservations at Lamplight Lounge for a couple dates in May.
Oh, okay. Just in case we happen to be able to get in.
I don't know if there was a glitch or if those are going to withstand. But right now, I was just looking to review some menu items and issues for today's podcast. And it actually showed some reservations. So not for opening day or for the Saturday, but Sunday.
Oh, okay. So we may possibly, if we get the park reservation for those days, we may already have a reservation. Thank you, Michelle, for the Lamplight Lounge or some of the other restaurants that are open throughout Disneyland that take reservations. So like I said, I read that it was April 22nd. You may want to check and see. And we don't know, just because it booked, they may we need to cancel that out.
Right. It may have been an error. And it was only showing availability on days at Lamplight. None of the other restaurants were open. So I don't know if it just got opened early in error. And like I said, I don't know if we'll keep it. But if you're interested, you might want to try. And Can't hurt.
Yeah,
if you want to try.
You think you're going to plan on going, or that you're going to be looking for when you get that chance to book your park reservation.
Right. Especially even if it's not going to be when the park initially opens. Like if you're looking to purchase a ticket in a tier that doesn't have that available to you and you're looking for a date later in May or June, you might want to try. I know that it was going because like when I went to change to a different date, it had something that wasn't available anymore that I wanted. So the tip there, I guess, is give it a try.
Give it a try.
It might not.
Temper your expectations because it could go away, or it could be a glitch, whatever it might be. But
But if they leave it there, it's
give it a shot. Yeah, why not? Why not? That doesn't now having a reservation at a restaurant does not guarantee you a park reservation. So know that going in as well. And then eventually it's going to shift to where it's 60 days out that you can start making reservations for restaurants and park reservations for that matter. It'll be 60 day. There'll be 60-day blocks is what they're saying right now for when you'll be able to make the reservations. Now, right now the calendar only is listed through June. So know that going in. We don't know what the expectation is for July, August, etc. So find out. Now, as for the tickets, they'll be sold at different prices corresponding to different tiers, and all those tiers will kind of have different blackout dates. Single day tickets range from $104 for adults and $98 for children. Those are tier 1 tickets to $209 for adults, $204 for children. Those are for tier 5 park hopper tickets. Okay, so know that price going in. Now, some things you'll want to know about those different tiers is don't plan on, if you're not going to book a tier 5, that you can necessarily be able to make it in. Definitely not in the first couple weeks of the parks being open or on the weekends. Right now, like I said, we only have blackout dates through June at this point. If you want to go anytime within the first 17 days that Disneyland is open, and this includes Disney California Adventure Park, you'll need right now tier 5 tickets. That doesn't mean that they may, as they have rolling things, that they may not open some things, but right now, only tier 5 tickets will be allowed to make the early park reservations for those dates.
Right. And I know listening to this on a podcast may sound really confusing. So they do have the listings on their website. But the bottom line, like Tom's saying, is that your tier is going to, like we've seen with other types of tickets, especially at Disneyland, even for annual passes, which ones would allow full weekends or partial weekends and things like that. So here in Southern California, I think we're accustomed to that. We just didn't hear it called the tier system as much. But the exciting thing was that they do have the information now that park hopping is going to be available from the very beginning, which I think that was not what was rolled out initially at Walt Disney World. And that park hopping starts at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And that even for the queues for rides, that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. We'll talk all about that here in just a second here.
It's a tease.
Yep, it's a tease. So anyway, if you want to go right now, as they stand right now, if you want to be sure to go sometime within the first 17 days, or at least to have the chance to go, you will need a tier 5 ticket. And that also goes for all the weekends throughout at least as far as we know, to the end of June, and some Fridays as we get later on in June. You will need a tier 5 ticket. Now, once those 17 days are up, you will have the ability to use some of the other tier tickets. Tier 4 will begin with a couple of weeks where they will be good from Monday through Friday. That is until a certain park area opens in June, which we'll be talking about a little bit later in this show. Then it moves till Monday through Thursday for tier 4 tickets. Tier 3 will be available to use Monday through Thursday through most of the rest of May. It will then switch to just Tuesdays and Wednesdays in June. So be prepared for that if you're getting tier 3 tickets. And tier 2 tickets will be eligible for Tuesdays and Wednesdays through the first week of June. Then it'll be blacked out for the rest of that entire month, at least as things stand right now. So you only have, if you're getting tier 2 tickets, you only have a few days within May that you'll be able to use that. Now, if you're trying to get the value tickets, tier 1 tickets, we don't know. There's no availability for park reservations to begin with for those tickets. You just kind of got to hope and see. Now, the one good thing is that Disneyland, if you purchase those tickets, you're gambling on it, and doesn't come through for you, and you don't get the chance to use them, they will refund those tickets for you, or you can put that money towards a different tier ticket eventually and use that instead. They are also selling multi-day tickets, but I've been on, as much as I've looked throughout all the different websites, other websites that have covered it, I've been able to clarify what tier those tickets fall
Right,
in.
I know.
It's really tricky. So you may want to just verify that with Disney if you're making the purchase. Those go for anywhere from 2-day to 5-day tickets that are single day tickets, or not single day, single park tickets, or park hopper tickets. Check with Disneyland. And we also don't know how long those are good for, whether they're, if they're only good for a week, if they're good for a month. We don't know yet. At least they're not listed on the website. So check with Disney on that if you're thinking about doing that.
Right. Probably by the day that they open the ticket sales, and there'll be some more clarity to that. And again, just with the issue of park hopping, like we've mentioned in past episodes when talking about Disneyland, is that the parks are so close that you really can easily go back and forth throughout the day. You don't need any transportation. It's just a crosswalk away kind of thing. What would you call that?
The Esplanade.
Esplanade, yeah. So there is some benefits here in Southern California to have the park hopper. But, it's also a new experience, and it may take longer to get through things and get through attractions. There won't be fast passes either. So maybe doing one park on a single day and doing another park on another day is, going to work for you too.
Right. Park hopper tickets are obviously much more expensive. It is nice in Disneyland that you do have the ability to just walk right over. It's not like Disney World where you have to find a form of transportation to get you from parks to parks, and that it's not really conducive to park hopping as easily anyway at Walt Disney World. Not that you can't do it, but it's a little bit more. There's a little bit more involved. Disneyland, you can just walk back and forth.
Right.
So it's a lot.
We've done that over and over throughout a day, gone back and forth
so many times. Yeah, we've put on a lot of steps on our on our little watches here or whatever, just going back and forth to the park, not even walking around each park itself. So,
right.
Anyway, moving on to a few other things that we know right now. As I mentioned, Orange County is appropriately in California's orange COVID tier. Again, that means that there will be limited to 25% capacity, and indoor dining will be also limited to 25% capacity. There is a chance that the county could reach the yellow tier before opening or soon thereafter. In that case, the park capacity will increase to 35% allowed, and indoor dining capacity would increase to 50% at that point. So just know that going in. And as I said, right now, they're saying June 15th, the tiers are going away. So who knows what happens after that. So park hours for both Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure Park right now are set to be from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Every attraction will be standby. The Fast Pass and Max Pass system will be temporarily suspended. And there also will be no single rider queues. So, something to know going in. As Michelle mentioned, there is park hopping that will be available if you have a park hopper ticket. You will need to visit the park you made your reservation for first. Then beginning at 1 p.m., you can then shift to the other park if park capacity allows it. Now, Michelle brought up an interesting point about park hopping, and it has to deal with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, right, Michelle?
Right. So it is saying that you can start your park hopping at Disney California Adventure and still be in time to do the queue for the afternoon booking. So you don't have to, unlike at Disney Hollywood Studios, where you have to have that park as your park for both the early morning and the afternoon securing of the queues. At Disneyland, that isn't the case. You can start in California Adventure Park.
Right. If you are going to Disneyland Park in the morning, you will have the opportunity sometime in the morning. They haven't specified exactly when that will be, that you can sign up for the virtual queue for Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Right. But if your park is Disney California Adventure Park that you had the park reservation for that day, but you do have a park hopper pass at 1 p.m., the other window will open up and you will have the opportunity, and you will also with Disneyland as well, you will have the opportunity to try and secure a later virtual queue, a boarding group with Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, assuming that the attraction is operating, and
Right.
you can get as many boarding groups as possible. So very interesting, and that's cool to know. And like you said, that's different from what's going on at Disney's Hollywood Studios right now, even though park hopping is available for those that have park hopper passes. Now, here are the attractions that will be open, and it's most of them.
Are you going to read them all?
Yes,
Oh
I am.
my goodness.
Because it's
my
exciting.
dear Lord.
It's exciting. Disneyland, Alice in Wonderland, the Astro Orbiter, Autopia, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Casey Jr. Circus Train, the Disneyland Railroad, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Gadgets Go Coaster, the Haunted Mansion, yes, Indiana Jones Adventure, It's a Small World, King Arthur Carousel, Mad Tea Party, the Main Street Vehicles, Mark Twain Riverboat, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Peter Pan's Flight, Pinocchio's Daring Journey, Pirates of the Caribbean, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, Snow White's Enchanted Witch, brand new, just reimagined. Looking forward to checking that out. Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Star Tours, The Adventure Continues, Star Wars, Rise of the Resistance, yes, Tarzan's Treehouse, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room are all open. Note the big one that's out of that one is right now the Jungle Cruise, which I believe is going through that reimagining right now. So that is not open currently. For Disney California Adventure Park, the Games of Pixar Pier, Goofy's Sky School, Guardians of the Galaxy, Mission Breakout, The Incredicoaster, Inside Out, Emotional Whirlwind, Jesse's Critter Carousel, Jumpin' Jellyfish, Luigi's Rockin' Roadsters, Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, Mickey's Philhar Magic, Monsters Inc., Mike and Sully to the Rescue, Pixar Pal Around, both non-swinging, and Michelle's favorite, the swinging.
Yeah.
Radiator Springs Racers, Silly Symphony Swing, Soarin' Round the World, The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, Toy Story Midway Mania, and Turtle Talk with Crush. All those attractions are opening. So if you're planning on going, you know what's there for you. When you're trying to make which park you want to go to, I just wanted to kind of let you know what you can expect when you get to go.
Right. Very good.
Cool. So that's all the facts that I know. Is there anything else you wanted to pass along, Michelle, as far as what we know going in?
Well, I guess one of the things is if you were previously an annual pass holder when the parks did close, and you are now considered a legacy ticket holder, so you don't have
holder.
It actually is called legacy ticket holder on their website. But you don't hold a ticket. But you are legacy. But that is what it says.
How many actually hold a ticket anymore? Everything is virtual
nowadays. I know, that's right. That's right. But they do provide food and merchandise discounts for now. We don't know how long that will stay in place. And it's all based on the type of annual pass that you had before. So if you had one that, was richer in their benefits, you're going to have a higher percentage of savings for food and merchandise than if you were to have one of the more value annual passes. So for the merchandise, it's up to 20% off at Disneyland Resort theme parks, and for the food, it's up to 15% throughout Disneyland California Adventure and Downtown Disney. And those food discounts, though, do not include alcohol.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. That's a good point. Another point I wanted to bring up is that even though on the 29th, Grand Californian Hotel and Resort, Disney's Grand California Hotel and Resort, will be available for you to stay there and make a reservation for there. Just because you have a reservation at the hotel does not guarantee you a park reservation for the day. So you probably want to make your park reservations first, and then look about hotel stays, whether, if there's availability at the Grand Californian or if you want to go somewhere nearby. Right now, the Disneyland Hotel and the Paradise Pier Hotel are not open at this point. So just know that going in. Right. So now a few tips for you as you're getting plans to make those, buy those tickets, make those park pass reservations, which will be tricky. Let's face it. It's going to be an interesting situation when those come up here this week. First of all, when you eventually go in to try and make your park pass reservation or buy your tickets for Disneyland, make sure you already signed up for your Disney account, as I already mentioned. It's going to make things so much easier for you rather than have to go through the rigmarole as you're trying to purchase the tickets. If it's already done, you can do that right now. Take care of that early. please also have your group linked with you going into it. It's going to be that's one more step that you don't have to worry about later on. But if you do get there and get your tickets and start making your reservation, they will allow you to link your group, but it's just easier if you have that already ready to go. Please be patient and flexible. This is going to be an incredible amount of demand for these tickets, and it could be a little tricky going into the day. So it's going to be insane trying to get these tickets on. The more flexible you are for your dates, the easier it's going to be for you. And don't just assume you're going to get day one or even opening weekend. It's great if you can, but the more flexibility you have, the more ability you will have to get back to Disneyland, and the less frustration you'll have as well. If you don't get the date you want, keep checking back. We already talked about this a little bit. Disney itself has said this on the Disneyland website, quote, to accommodate as many types of ticket holders as possible, park reservations for select dates may be available on a rolling basis, end quote. And again, as Michelle mentioned already, that means that when they see that maybe not all the spots have been taken up by those tiers, they may open some up for other people. And they also want to be sure they'll hold some back. So let's just say a day is available for not only tier 5, but tier 4, tier 3, maybe even tier 2. They'll be holding an allotment of spots for all those tiers on that day. And then if they don't get used up, they will release those for some of the other tiers, is what this sounds like anyway.
Right.
And also because of the fact that capacity may change as we progress through this, we may see some availability pop open later as well. So keep checking back. If you don't get your desired date, keep checking back, because you never know when you might see one available. Also, people can cancel the reservation with no penalty. So if they change, they get a different date, whatever, people will be canceling their reservations. So it's just worth it every once in a while just to keep checking back for that date you really wanted. Make that reservation for later if you need to. But if there was a day you really wanted to get to early and you unfortunately were shut out, keep checking back, because it might pop open for you.
Very good point.
Yeah. Now that's the tips I have. Do you have any other tips that you want to share?
Well, my tips really relate to actually the experience of going into the park. So I don't know if I did this wrong when you said about tips.
Well, let's go into what to expect, and maybe that's what we're going to talk about. Is it more of a tip, or is it what to expect for people when they go into the parks?
Tips.
Okay, go ahead and give your tips then.
I think they're tips.
All right.
You tell me after I give them out, okay?
I'm sure. Michelle's tips are always the best tips, so I'm sure these will be great tips.
Well, first of all, is if you're looking for Dole Whip, it's not going to be at the place that you might typically go to, but don't fret. The Tropical Hideaway will have Dole Whip and Dole Whip products or food products. In fact, it's pretty much the only thing they're going to have. I mean, in the past, they've had snacks. Right now, they'll just have Dole Whip, the Dole floats, the dessert bowls, etc. Plus bottled water and Coke products and things like that. So, but it's a great place, and they'll have mobile ordering for that. Also, a tip is that kind of going along with that idea is that menu items will be reduced at the restaurants that will be open. And so if there's, something that you particularly love at, like, oh, when I go there, I always eat this. Check the menu first before even going. So you don't have that day of disappointment like, oh my gosh, I thought for sure I was going to get this and it's not even available. So, having some familiarity with what they do have, most of the menus that I've looked at, definitely scaled back, but typically have the main one or two items that restaurant is known for. For example, Jolly Holiday does have the combo with the grilled cheese sandwich and the tomato soup, plus some of their salads and sandwiches as well. But something to look to, because you might end up being disappointed if you're not prepared for that. And the other tip that I had is to take advantage of what Disneyland has that Disney World doesn't have, and that starts at Ronto Roasters. So at Disneyland, they have a Ronto-less garden wrap, which is a plant-based sausage and spicy kimchi slaw.
Nice. I'm so glad that they're doing a plant-based version for, it's been unfortunate for those
right.
that are vegetarians that have not had a chance to sample a yummy Ronto wrap.
Right,
So it's
right.
nice that they're going to have their opportunity. And there are those that just want a little bit of a change of pace when they go out to Ronto Roasters.
Exactly. And it's not like it's just a salad on a wrap. It's actually, plant-based sausage.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
thank you.
Good point. I think those are good tips, but they also, I think, are also leads us into what to expect, because those are things that you also will need to know what to expect when you're going. So again, a lot of this is going to be stuff that we kind of took from our visits to Walt Disney World, what we've seen from people who have gone to Walt Disney World and what's there. Now, Disneyland and Walt Disney World are different, and also the states they're in and what they allow are very, very different. Right. So what we're saying here could possibly be slightly changed when you actually get to Disneyland. But here's some things that I think we can pretty much expect, either way. So first of all, obviously masks. You will have to wear a mask when you go into the park. You'll probably have to go through some sort of temperature check going into the parks as well. Masks, you need to make sure you have the appropriate mask that has at least 2 layers of fabric on there. There are certain masks that Disney will not allow you to wear in the park. Gator masks, for example, at least if they are similar to what they did at Walt Disney World. You cannot wear those in the park. So be sure to check up on what masks are allowed. You may want to bring a backup just in case they say, hey, your mask isn't allowed. Also, a lot of times there'll be some stands nearby that are selling some masks. That if they say that mask doesn't work, but you can go purchase one over here.
Sure.
You can always do that. Of course, you're going to see social distancing in the queues throughout the park as much as possible. You get prepared for that. There will be hand sanitizing and hand washing stations throughout the park. Those are always good things. Take advantage of those as often as possible. Expect mobile ordering virtually everywhere now. That's a quick service restaurant, because that's just kind of what everything goes to. You won't be lining up generally, is what I would expect at any of the, regular quick service places. You will probably have to mobile order everywhere you go.
Right. I mean, they really want to make sure that they offer as much contactless services as possible.
Right. They no cash. So you want to have Disney gift cards. If you don't have a credit card on an account there, something along those lines, they don't expect to be able to be paying cash for anything at the resort right now. Again, contactless as much as possible. No character meet and greets. There will be character appearances throughout the park with distance photos. So, you can still experience the characters, but it'll just be in a different way. Right, Michelle?
That's right. And at Disney California Adventure Park, they do have Marvel characters.
They do have Marvel characters, and they have a whole plan out for that, which is exciting as well. Of course, there's no nighttime spectaculars right now or parades. They haven't said so, but I wonder if there will be cavalcades like they are similarly to what's in Walt Disney World. We don't know. They haven't said they're going to have cavalcades. They have said that they will have characters throughout the parks that you can take distance photos with, but they have not said anything about cavalcades to this point as of recording this today. Look for the lines to extend well past their attractions. I know Disneyland's queues are mostly outdoor anyways, just because the way Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park are set. Expect to see those lines go well down streets and everything because of the fact that they have to socially distance, because of the fact that there's no fast passes. These lines will expand and seem longer than what they necessarily are. If a lot of time says 45 minutes, it may look like it's 2.5 hour attraction wait time. But it probably still is 45 minutes. Better yet, it may even be less than that, because as we saw at Walt Disney World, they were padding their wait times a lot, somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes often. So we can't guarantee that will be the case at Disneyland. But if you see a time that says 45 minutes, it could possibly be only 35 minutes or something along those lines. So just know that going on. Even if the line seems like it goes forever, it may not be as bad as it seems.
Right. And if you're a fan of Disney parks and you haven't been able to go to one, with these queues, you're really looking for somebody, a cast member, holding some kind of a banner saying it's the end of the line, and that's where you line up from. So it may look confusing, but that's when you want to get into a queue, that's what you need to look for.
Right. And there will be a lot of spots laid out with lines kind of demarcations to know where you should stop, so you're 6 feet away from everybody around you. And some of those wind, and they may look like it's more than 6 feet in between them, but that's because they want to stagger it. So if you're right next to somebody, that even though you're not maybe 6 feet behind them, you're not within 6 feet behind them, you're farther than 6 feet from the side of them, essentially. So just pay attention to those demarcations as you're in the queue. You may also see some spaces where it looks like it's the end of the line. Like you said, look for the sign, because they have to also allow for some space to allow people to walk through certain areas. So they'll have somebody there kind of gatekeeping to, okay, now you can go to the next part of the queue. And
if not, the people in line will tell you.
Yes. You don't want to be embarrassed and accidentally get into that and accidentally cut. Not like you're intending to cut, but you may be accidentally cutting and not know it.
Yeah, you may think, wow, I scored. But really, if you're going to get in line, just look for a cast member to show where the line is forming.
Exactly. So bottom line, I don't know, do you have anything else of what to expect?
Not really too much different than what you're saying. The one thing that I noticed was they were having some table service restaurants available in both parks. That's going to be available. And I think that's a good thing too, if somebody's looking for that option as well, not just mobile ordering.
All right. Reservations for some of those may be scarce because, like I said, to begin with, it's 25% capacity. Eventually, it might get to 50% capacity. Who knows after June what they will be. But for the time being, it's probably going to be, the reservations may go quickly. So if you're thinking about if you get a park reservation and you're thinking about dining there, or you maybe want to jump on it ahead of time, even if you think about it, because remember, you can cancel that dining reservation at least up to 1 day out if you don't get your park reservation for that day. You may want to jump on it as soon as possible. If you're really jonesing to get back to the Lamplight Lounge or Carthay Circle or whatever it may be, once the Blue Bayou restaurant opens up again, you may want to jump on that when you get the chance. So bottom line, it's going to be magical, but it may not be the same magical you remember from Disneyland. So expect it to be a little different. Again, my key today, and you're going to hear this also in my tip later, is patience. Be patient with everything that goes on because things are going to be different. It's not going to be the Disneyland you expect, but it's just going to be good to get back to Disneyland once again. Right.
I kind of going along with that and, sharing from my experience when we went to Walt Disney World, the more you can prepare yourself for the differences, I think the better situation you'll be in. Because if you're just planning like, oh, it's open and it's going to, they might have a few, less food items and the lines will be long because of fast passes. There's a little bit more to that. And really being, again, what's important to you, maybe even making a list of what are the things that you really like to do and want to make sure you're covered, and then explore on their site or through the app, what is that really going to be like, so that you are prepared for the fact that it will be different.
Exactly. It's a great point. So just be prepared for that. No, it's going to be magical. It just might not be the same magical you've experienced from Disneyland in the past. So Michelle, prep yourself mentally ahead of time. It's really good. And if you have little ones going with you, you may want to prep them ahead of time and let them know that, you're not going to be meeting Mickey.
Yeah, you won't be hugging any characters. And, and the other thing is, if you're not used to wearing a mask all day, it's something that you will take notice of during your time there, because you will keep it on all the time, with the exception of eating or drinking. They'll have relaxation areas and things like that, but it is psychologically, I think, for some people, something to prepare for, that's going to be in place.
Right. And you can take your mask off momentarily when you're eating and drinking. Right, not just talking about sitting in a restaurant. Like if you're sitting down and eating and you're in an act of eating, of course you can take your mask off and eat and drink. But if you're traveling around the parks with a drink or whatever, you can take a drink, but you need to step to the side, make sure you're distanced from everybody, and stop, be stationary. Then you can take your mask down, take a bite, take a drink, whatever, and then put the mask back on. That's just how the rules go.
Right. And they do enforce them, and you'll hear announcements about that throughout the day. And so again, it's still a magical place, but just realize that there are some things that are different because we are coming off of a pandemic.
Exactly. You're still in the midst of it, by the way. We're not done. We're not through it yet. We're getting
Coming
there.
on
There's light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not there yet. So that's what to expect. Now, what are we looking forward to when we finally get to get back? I'm so excited. Michelle, what are you most looking forward to when we get back to Disneyland?
It's hard to rate which things I'm most looking forward to, excited to. I did list 5 just because I think that's a number that people tend to associate with. So the first one, and I know this is going to be on your list too, but maybe for different reasons, is Haunted Mansion with the new magic. That was already announced a few months ago that they have done some differences, or we'll see some additional spirits in the Haunted Mansion from when we last experienced it at Disneyland. And it sounds like it's going to be where the hitchhiking ghosts are boarding with you, like they have changed over at Walt Disney World. I suspect that's what it means, but who knows? There might be a surprise magic that I'm misinterpreting.
Interesting, yeah.
Also looking forward to, as you mentioned earlier in the list, the Snow White's Enchanted Wish, the reimagined attraction there. Disneyland Railroad, just to go along the entire perimeter of the park and just take it all in, I think will be really amazing. Similarly, the Main Street vehicles, hopefully getting an opportunity for that, and Radiator Springs Racers.
Yeah, all great.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, there's something. Look, Dole Whip at Magic Kingdom, anywhere else in Walt Disney World is good. Dole Whip at Disneyland is just a little bit better. For whatever reason, I feel it's better. I can't wait to have a Dole Whip.
Right.
I can't wait to get back in the original Enchanted Tiki room. That's exciting to me. A corn dog, a Disneyland corn dog. There is nothing like a Disneyland corn dog.
True.
For sure. Hand-dipped corn dog, for sure. The Matterhorn. Say what you want about it. It's the original Disney Mountain. I can't wait to get back on the Matterhorn.
It won't be on opening day, but shortly after.
Right. I'm looking forward to when that reopens and we get to that. Seeing New Orleans Square again, which is always beautiful, and I love it. The original It's a Small World, and especially the facade of it, that's just so excellent. As you mentioned, Radiator Springs Racers, even sitting at Flo's V8 Cafe outside there and looking at the whole backdrop of Radiator Springs and watching the racers go by and maybe having some breakfast or a bite later on or whatever the case may be. I'm looking forward to that. The Lamplight Lounge, which apparently we already have reservations for, which is exciting. So just all of it. I'm so excited to get back to Disneyland. I've missed it so very much over this last year plus. I cannot wait to get back to Disneyland.
Oh yeah, me too. And I do have a couple other little things of speculation. I don't know if this is a good time or if you...
Sure.
So, you mentioned about Jungle Cruise not being opened and that it's going through its reimagining phase right now. Just going through the different refurbishment dates on their calendar, it looks like that may be opening on June 29th.
That's good.
Yeah. So, which is like a Monday, I believe. So that's something.
Don't hold us to that. That's
right. That just thinks. It's just what it looks like on their website, and we've seen things. So like the People Mover, who have had planned dates of reopening, and it has, for whatever reason, has to change. So that might not be, but just for right now, it kind of looks like that. And the reason I point that out is if you aren't able to secure a park reservation early on, there are things coming up ahead that, waiting might be beneficial, especially if you're not going to be able to get a lot of tickets. We don't have the annual passes right now. You might want to, for you and your family, plan to say, hey, I'm going to go more like in July or August because I know some more things will be available, some more of the attractions will be available. Some new things coming out will be available. And so it's an opportunity to consider, when you're making your plans. And I know, I think you might have wanted to talk a little bit about Avengers Campus opening.
I'll be talking about that in a little bit.
Okay. So anyways, just some things to come that, some ideas associated with that.
Very good. And also, take note that, like I said, we are still in the midst of this pandemic. So, there are still some restrictions out there. Eventually, as we get farther and farther into this, as more people get vaccinated, maybe some things start lessening. So if you're concerned about that, will my kids enjoy the park so much right now? Maybe you wait a couple months and see if things open. You may still get in there, and you might have an easier time getting in there for that matter.
Right.
And maybe some things are better for you. There's no guarantee of that. There's no guarantee when anything will return to normal in the world, much less in Disneyland.
Right.
But, it can't hurt to wait a little bit if that's what your concern is.
Right. And, like you're saying, as more things open up, as Disney is able to bring on more of their furloughed employees and cast members, I should say. And just looking at Southern California, San Diego, as we're reopening, there are businesses struggling to get some people back. Some people have landed other jobs or for whatever reason choose not to go back. So when you're trying to bring in so many people, it will take time. And like you mentioned, the word of patience is the word of the day. But magic will continue to be spread at Disneyland.
Yeah. And I would suggest, even though, everybody can only come at this point right now from within California. Now, you may be visiting from Northern California or whatever, and you need a hotel anyway. That's great. But even if you're staying kind of locally, look, these businesses around Disneyland have been struggling for a while. Why not take the time and just, have a little mini staycation night if you're going there anyway and stay locally, or go dine locally the night before, or both. Even if you don't have a park pass reservation for the day before, just one of you'll get to the park that much easier on the day of, until you're giving these businesses that have been scuffling for a while a little bit extra boost during this time. So just a thought. So anyway, we're excited for all of it. We can't wait to get back to Disneyland. We will be trying very hard, and we will let you know through social media this week what we land and when we are going to get the chance to return to Disneyland. Hey, Disneyland. But anyway, if you have any questions for us leading into this, or whenever you get your park pass reservation as to what to expect, any questions at all, please hit us up through either our social media or through our Gmail account, and we'll be happy to answer them for you.
Right. We look forward to that.
We look very much forward to that. And that is our look at Reopening Disneyland, a return to the happiest place on earth. Can't wait for Disneyland to reopen. I am so excited. It's just going to be so much fun. And it's just been so long.
I know it is. And, it's funny because we're still in the midst right now of the 65th anniversary, but haven't really been able to have that kind of experience of celebrating it at the park. So looking forward to that.
Very much looking forward to that. So let's get to our Disney stories of the week. Lots of stuff for you today. I'm going to try and get to as much of it as I possibly can without going crazy on our time here. And we're going to start with something we've already mentioned a few times throughout this. That was big news that came out this week. We talked about returning to Disneyland. Well, if you're planning that return for this summer, we have a great news for you, obviously. This from the Disney Parks blog. They say, as we've all been anticipating, they're pleased to share that Avengers Campus, an entirely new land dedicated to discovering, recruiting, and training the next generation of superheroes, will open on June 4th, 2021 at the Disneyland Resort, obviously Disney California Adventure Park.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And it's great that it finally the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction is going to blend in. It seemed like it was such a kind of a offshoot where it was located, and now it looks like it's going to be a nice transition associated with the Avengers Campus.
Yeah, that whole area is going to flow much better than it did in the past, and that's very exciting. They go on to say, at this fully immersive land inside Disney California Adventure Park, you will be invited to team up with the Avengers and their allies and live out your superhero dreams. Avengers Campus is comprised of several heroic locations, each hosted by different Avengers to share their unique powers, technology, and knowledge with recruits. The first key area is the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, also known as WEB, It brings together bright innovators like Peter Parker, by the way, Tom Holland,
right,
doing his role there for Peter Parker, who have been assembled by Tony Stark to invent new technologies and equip everyday people to become superheroes like the Avengers. Web will house the new Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure, the first Disney ride-through attraction to feature the iconic friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Right. That sounds like a fun attraction. I mean, it sounds like it's comparable to Midway Mania type of thing, but it has a whole great storyline around it that is really interesting and cute, and I think it's going to be fun for everybody.
For sure. Very excited to check that out. As Michelle already mentioned, the second anchor attraction looms high above the land, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, a fan favorite that opened in 2017. This rockin' adventure blasts you straight into the Guardians of the Galaxy story alongside characters from the blockbuster films and comics as you help Rocket bust out his fellow Guardians of the Galaxy out of the Collector's Fortress. It's a great attraction. The music is fantastic. It could be a little different each time you ride it because you might get a different music. The storyline may change a little bit to go with that music, just slightly, kind of the scenes you see.
Right.
It's exciting. It's similar to Tower of Terror, but just ramped up
on steroids.
Yeah, to Marvel. So to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, right. Yeah, and the music is like what you would expect that is associated with the soundtrack from the movie.
Straight out of Peter Quill's tape deck or whatever it is he might have. So meanwhile, at a nearby ancient sanctum, Doctor Strange will train recruits in the mystic arts by bringing this ancient sanctum to life with powerful spells. At night, the area glows even more vividly with majestic colors and lights pulsating with mystic energy. So this sounds like it's going to be, and I think we've heard this discussed before, like the Jedi training academy, essentially, where obviously they're taking younglings and training them to be Jedi. This will be Doctor Strange training them in the mystic arts in the world of Marvel. So that's gonna be. I always like watching the Jedi training academy, just because it's fun. You never know, it's kids, so you never know what they're gonna do.
Right.
This is gonna be kind of fun. It seems like with mystic arts, there may be some things that play around them that may come to life or whatever. So it should be fascinating to watch.
Yeah. And the cast members there, the educators are great. Right. So
that'll be a lot of fun as well. But let's not forget, there also is going to be plenty of food at the Avengers campus when that opens. They say when it's time to take a break from the heroics, several new dining spots at Avengers campus will offer dishes that are rich in both flavor and storytelling. PIM Test Kitchen is a food innovation science lab where the food and drinks tell a story. Just as Ant-Man and the Wasp use PIM particles to grow and shrink just about anything, PIM Technologies applies this science to the creation of shareable bites, inventive entrees, and sweet treats. You'll be able to savor such items as the impossible plant-based large and micro meatballs with pasta, or the Pimini, a panini served either by the slice or as a long multi-portion sandwich. So that's fun. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it is cool. It's cute.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what else they have on the menu as well. So adjacent to the PIM Test Kitchen, an oversized beer can overhead signals that grown-up beverage tastings are available at PIM Tasting Lab. You can order a craft beer ranging from a blood orange Hefeweizen to an amber lager, or try one of the PIM research staff's PIM particle-infused cocktail experiments. Wow! That sounds like a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, that does. It really love the ingenuity and Imagineering staff put together. Always an amazing experience for people. So
very cool stuff. Also, they have a couple other places that we didn't know about before. At least I didn't hear of it anywhere, of places where you can get another bite as well. You also have the chance to visit one of the Avengers' favorite food joints, the Shawarma Palace. Enjoy a shawarma wrap at this food cart, which is decked out with memorabilia for Avengers fans. Lastly, Tanalier Tivan did not limit his collection to lovable misfits. He is also curating a weird and wonderful menu of intergalactic eats at the Terran Treats food cart near the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. So more things to sample.
Right,
That's great.
I know. And looking forward to shawarma for sure. I mean, we've been able to experience that on the Disney cruises, but it meets the theming of the movies when it had that discussion about
the shawarma. Yeah.
Going to get shawarma together. And so it's perfect.
I mean, I really will want to try out the PIM test kitchen, but I love shawarma.
Right now.
I'm excited to see what the shawarma, the shawarma palace is like once that opens up for sure. So they also go on to say throughout Avengers Campus, superheroes will come to life in more exciting ways than ever. You may have heroic encounters with Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, the Dora Milaje, Black Widow, Ant-Man and the Wasp, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, and even villains like Loki. Sometimes Loki kind of goes where he wants to go. Sometimes he's a villain. Sometimes he's a good guy. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love Loki. You never know what to expect from him, other than that he'll work for his own self-interest.
Right.
Loki is great. Some of whom are making their first ever appearances at the park. You may also even have the chance to witness Spider-Man swinging into action high above Avengers Campus with gravity-defying acrobatic feats never seen before in a Disney theme park. Can't wait for that to happen.
I know. We've seen some of the test runs of those robotics, and it's just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Like they're saying, it just defies gravity. It doesn't, like when they're moving, it's like that shouldn't happen.
Right. It's incredible looking, yes. And I'm very excited about this entire land. We are big Marvel fans here. I'm wearing a Marvel shirt today to celebrate it.
Nice.
Can't wait. And by the way, and so if you're looking to make those park pass reservations, make those tickets for Disneyland, like I said, June 4th or when this opens up. Now, the first few days are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right now, those are only going to be open for Tier 5 tickets, but you don't know what happens later, and eventually those may open up for other tiers. So just know that going in, if you're hoping to get there on the first weekend and you have a Tier 5 ticket and you don't get opening day, if that's what you're shooting for, maybe you try and get in for opening day of Avengers Campus. If that doesn't work, it'll come around for you eventually.
Right.
But it's exciting all the way around.
Right. And if you're not planning on park hopping, that part is in the Disney California Adventure Park.
Right, that's correct. So know that going in as well. Good point, Michelle. Another thing that came up, and apparently there was a teleconference with chairman of the parks and Disney Parks and Experiences, Josh D'Amaro, and he showed a couple of exciting things from what all reports are at the end of that teleconference to kind of break out all the news about Disneyland and some other things that are going on, including Avengers Campus. One of the things they showed apparently was like a 10-second video of a new audio animatronic that is a Groot audio animatronic walking around. That's kind of like the tween Groot walking around. So I don't think that'll be their opening day, but that seems like that's getting ready to come at some point.
Yeah,
that's exciting. Awesome. The other big thing, and this is not Marvel related at all, but apparently he kind of dropped the mic at the end of the teleconference by holding up a hilt of a lightsaber and then igniting it. And it was like a real lightsaber, like it lit up, it extended, not like, they have, most lightsabers have the blade already attached or they have the extendable plastic things that you kind of flick and they go out or whatever. No, this apparently just ignited and kind of came out of the hilt itself. And he did apparently say it's real. Whether that is for some sort of thing in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, more likely that is probably for Galactic Star Cruiser at Walt Disney World. Either way, that's exciting stuff. I can't wait to see what comes of that when they eventually get to break it out for the rest of the public.
Yeah, definitely. And one more thing about, the new portion of the park opening with Marvel theme is Disney, it looks like really, again, is putting you in a very immersive experience, just like we've talked about with Cars Land, and you could say Toy Story Land. But this one really seems...
And Pandora.
Yeah, Pandora, right. This seems like it's following through. And I think that's what they're hearing people really enjoy is being a part of the entertainment, not just experiencing it.
Right. So really cool stuff. Can't wait for Avengers Campus. That was super exciting news this week. A couple other things they announced that were going to be opening up here sometime this summer that are out actually at the Walt Disney World Resort. And we learned about a couple of those places this week, again, from the Disney Parks blog. Epcot is a park about people. This is what they're saying in the blog here. About our hopes, our dreams, and the magic in imagining the impossible and making that a reality. That idea is at the heart of creativity and our inspiration for everything we are doing as the park undergoes a historic transition transformation. This summer will mark another big step when they unveiled the new flagship merchandise location called Creations Shop.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's going to replace Mouse Gears, I believe, right there, that used to be there. This shop features a bold, sleek design that creates a perfect showcase for the rich variety of items you'll find as part of your Epcot experience. It will be an open, bright, welcoming environment with huge glass walls that allow sunlight to pour in and make you feel like you're in touch with nature even while indoors. We are, so they say, they are using color, materials, and light in a new ways with some unique Epcot touches that connect back to the park's storied past while looking to the future.
I love how they storytell.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's just great.
I'm looking forward to seeing that shop and seeing what how it's evolved once it opens at some point later this summer. Also, this is even better news to me, is that adjacent to that shop will be a revitalized Club Cool hosted by Coca-Cola, which will also open this summer. This will celebrate Coca-Cola in a fresh, new way while keeping the fan favorite experience that invites you to explore tasty drinks from around the world. This space will also have some new magic to bring the global experience of Coca-Cola to life for you. So that's exciting because we loved Club Cool so much.
It's just it's a ridiculously simple idea that just is fun.
Yeah. If you've never been to Walt Disney World and experienced Club Cool, what it is, and who knows what the new part of it will be when they reimagine Club Cool. But what it used to be was that you would go in there and they would have like the soda dispensers there, you know, like you would go to any fast food place or whatever. And they'd have little shot glasses, little tiny cups.
Paper cups.
Yeah. And you could sample different types of Coke products or soft drinks from around the world. Everyone was famous for the Beverly, which some people love. Most people are like, what is this? You know, but it was kind of it was a way to kind of cool off in the middle of the day, get a little sip of something. But you got to try some really interesting beverages from around the world. And it was a fascinating little experience.
Yeah, it was fun.
For no charge, by the way. It was always free.
Yeah. So looking forward to that coming back.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah, that's really cool. Like
cool,
I said,
huh?
It's cool.
It's really cool.
It's Club Cool. It's Club Cool. Another interesting thing that came out about Walt Disney World this week, and this didn't really specifically have to do with Disney itself, but Mears Transportation announced this week that, you know, with the Disney's Magical Express going away at the beginning of 2022, at the end of 2021, people were like, well, you know, what are we going to do now to kind of get to the Walt Disney World Resort? It was always so easy to hop aboard the Disney Magical Express if you had a Walt Disney Resort stay planned. Well, Mears, who actually was the people that handled all that transportation service for the Disney Magical Express, they're going to be offering a new service apparently in 2022 called Mears Connect. This service, they say, will transport guests to and from the Orlando International Airport and the Walt Disney World Resort. It appears that this will be similar to Disney's Magical Express, and they will even offer luggage handling once we can get back to them doing that again. There will be a fee for this, however. It won't be free like the Disney's Magical Express. It used to come with your Disney Resort stay. There will be a fee for this, and they have not released what that fee is yet. But I'm assuming it's going to be comparable to what you might pay, if not less than, for a ride share, and definitely less if you rent a car. But it's just another convenient way to get from the airport to the Walt Disney World Resort and back, and from the service that was providing that before.
Right. And like you said, even though there is a fee, you know, one of the things that if you're getting a rental car and you're going to a Disney Resort property, you will pay for parking at the resort unless you're a Disney Vacation Club member on Disney Vacation Club points.
Right. So, you know, always, again, when you're trying to figure out these things, do the math. Figure out how much, if you want to do this, once we find out what the fee will be, you know, if you're comparing that versus a ride share versus a rental car, including parking, having to pay for parking, always things that you want to crunch the numbers when you're figuring out your Walt Disney World Resort stay and figure out which one is best for you. And sometimes it may not be the best monetarily for you, but it's the most convenient for you. And sometimes that's what you enjoy. Well, that is fine. It's your vacation. Do with it as you want. So finally, I want to just hit one more story here because I thought it was a fun, exciting story, and that is that a favorite Disney character received a more than well-deserved place of honor on Disney Cruise Line, and we couldn't be more excited about it. Again, this from the Disney Parks blog. They said that Captain Minnie Mouse is already making wishes come true for their newest ship. On Thursday, they unveiled that this beloved character will come to life for the first time through whimsical artwork on the bow of the Disney Wish. That's so great.
It is so great. It is so amazing. And, when you look at the pictures, it's so cute. And we love that they're bringing Captain Minnie Mouse into the picture. There is something I want to show you. I don't know if you have Disney Parks blog open right now, but I want you to see who the author of that article was.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Ashley Long, that was our cruise director from our Panama Canal cruise.
Right. So I don't know if this is a clue to anything that she's involved, or it's just because, she's not participating in the sailings right now, or maybe she is. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting that she authored this article.
Yeah, I wonder if that means that she is going to be the cruise director for the Disney Wish. That would be exciting for her. That'd be great. Oh, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that for her because she did such great things for us on our Panama Canal cruise. That's so cool. Anyway, moving on with the story. The bow's elegant filigree art, a hallmark of Disney Cruise Line vessels, includes an intricate scroll work pattern reminiscent of the classic ocean liners of the 1930s, and the portrait of Captain Minnie on the Disney Wish adds just the right amount of Disney whimsy to the design. That's so cool.
It is so cool. So cute.
Yeah. Also, another cool thing about it is the magic of Captain Minnie also comes alive as they reached a significant construction milestone for the Disney Wish, marked by the traditional keel laying ceremony. During a ship's construction, when the first block or section of a ship is lowered into the building dock, a newly minted coin is placed under the keel for good fortune. The coin created for the Disney Wish features none other than, you guessed it, Captain Minnie. That is great. Minnie is all over this thing.
Yes, I know. It's been wonderful having Captain Mickey aboard, the other flagships of the Disney Cruise Line, but it's so fun to have Disney Minnie too.
Yeah. I can't wait to experience that. We're excited when the Disney Wish finally gets out there and we get to sail aboard her. We're going to look to sail aboard her as soon as possible. That is great news, and so thrilled for Captain Minnie. It's well-deserved, long overdue. Very happy for Captain Minnie. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And we always start with Michelle, one, because she has the best tips. She has the best lists. She has the best research. What did I say? She has the best tips. Let's get, not only does she have Disneyland tips, she has all the other best tips as well.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet. So my tip of the week actually relates to Disney Cruise Line, and so, it really relates to if you're traveling on the Disney cruise ship and let's say you have kids that are different ages, and some of those ages might range outside of the 3 through 12 age group. That group can go into the Oceaneers Club and Oceaneers Lab. If your kids are outside that, though, they can't. And I know for some families that might be a little disappointment, but don't worry about it because they do offer open houses. And then at that point, any age can go into the Oceaneer Club or Oceaneer Lounge. They do list it on the Navigator when that's happening. And that way, if you have, let's say your 2-year-old or almost 3-year-old, feels a little left out, this is a way to get them be brought in as well. And for you adults who want to check out what are some of the fun activities that are provided in those areas, you get to try them out too.
Right. And a lot of times when they do some of the more extended cruises, like the Panama Canal, like the transatlantic cruises, some of those that are, maybe there are quite a few fewer kids aboard.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of times they have more open houses and the adults are playing in there almost as much as the kids because it's kind of fun. It's a space that you don't normally get into except for to escort your little one in and out of.
So and they have some neat activities for sure.
So great point. Michelle's tips.
Oh, thank you.
Whether it's Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, whatever, always the best tips. My tip this week, and again, I'm going more for a feeling this week as far as tips. I mentioned it already. Kind of the theme that I had going throughout the talk about Disneyland was patience. You're going to need a lot of patience going through the process of purchasing tickets. And that goes after you purchase tickets, or if you're trying to get the park reservation or whatever it may be. It even extends to when you actually finally get to visit Disneyland again. Remember, these cast members, they're just trying to do the best they can for you, keep you safe, but also trying to do some things to make sure that your experience is as magical as possible while still, dealing with what's going on in the world right now, trying to keep you safe. So just keep that in mind. When things go wrong, they didn't probably create that problem. They didn't create the pandemic. They didn't create the need for the capacity shortage out there, or the long queues, or keeping your mask on, or social distancing. Treat them with respect. Be kind. Be patient with them. Believe me, screaming at them or screaming at anybody, will not help things. It'll not smooth things out.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you can't be a little forceful when things don't go your way, but just peel back. Yeah. Be respectful. Peel back a little bit, take a deep breath, whatever you need to do. And just remember that the person you're talking to probably isn't the person to blame for what's going on, and they want to help you as much as they possibly can.
Right. And look for opportunities to do cast compliments and tweet those out as well. It's really important to them. Everybody likes to receive a compliment, but within the organization, they really take those as important pieces of information about the staff, about the cast members.
They definitely do. And remember, especially now, because remember, a lot of these Disneyland cast members have not had jobs, at least not at Disney, for a long time, for over a year now. They've been furloughed for quite a long time. They're finally getting back to it. So, please treat them with a little bit of kid gloves. Understand when things don't go exactly, especially to begin with, because it's going to be a little tricky as they begin welcoming people back. Just kind of,
it's different for them too.
Yeah. It's not easy for anybody involved here. Just know that going in. Don't feel like you're entitled just because you got that park reservation and you got that ticket through everything that day. Of course, there are things you are entitled to, but you're not entitled to the world. Go in there and treat everybody with respect, and that should be the way you live your life. But especially when you go into Disneyland, just understand, be patient, be kind, treat people with respect. You'll have a much better vacation because of it.
That's great.
Thank you. So that's it for this week. Next week, it's our 150th official episode. Now, we are going to be on vacation next week. So actually, we've already recorded that episode, but it's an exciting episode because we went back. We thought we'd revisit one of the episodes from our first 150 or I guess 149, that really struck you apparently because it's been far and away the most downloaded episode we've ever done. And that is our 5 favorite Disney songs that made us cry. And believe me, we recorded this yesterday. Trust me when I say we went through several boxes of tissues as we were recording a new updated version of that show.
Yeah, it took a lot more pauses again of, with the sniffles and, getting that heartfelt part of the episode through.
There are several times that you're going to hear us going through that episode where we're as we're trying to talk. But it was.
We don't want to make it sound like it was all crying, though.
No,
it wasn't.
And it was fun.
Yeah,
because not all. Some of the tears are of joy. Some of them are sadness. It's all a mix of these songs. But we had a lot of fun, and some of you also chimed in with some of your 5 favorite Disney songs, or just single favorite Disney songs that made you cry. And we loved sharing that. And we love revisiting it. We're going to look back a little bit at the episode, the original episode, share our brand new list, which have changed significantly. Well, Michelle's did. Mine changed a little bit, but kind of go through because there have been some new songs added, some new movies, and as we've already said before, that a lot of times when we do our 5 favorite lists, ask us 5 minutes later and it'll be totally different.
Yes.
So that'll be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you next week. So we appreciate that you joined us this week. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
please sign up for our newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. Just another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. Another way is also to follow us on social media. We have a lot of fun on social media with a lot of you out there. Please find us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We have a YouTube channel where we release some of this content as well. If you just do a quick search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe and you'll know whenever we have something else coming out there for you. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, feel free to ask us questions or give us some feedback. Another great way to give us feedback is through a review and a rating. And the most appreciated thing is when you tell a friend about our podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. The easiest way to let people know that this podcast exists. So that's it. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week, but we'll be crying a lot. Just be prepared for that.
Not a lot.
I cry a lot. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.